What it is, what it was, what it could be, y'all. Welcome to Disc Golf Justice. Today we're going over a beginner's guide to disc selection. One thing I noticed since I started playing is that some players only bag overstable discs and some players only bag understable discs. I think this is kind of absurd because I really truly think that you should have both and neutral discs in your bag. The common theme either tends to be that beginners get into disc golf and want to throw what their pros are throwing, so they throw something super overstable, or they listen to a bunch of YouTube videos where they tell them as a beginner you should only throw understable discs, so they only bag understable discs. I also remember when I first got into disc golf how overwhelmed I was with headwind, tailwind, uphill, downhill, turn, fade, neutral, overstable, understable. All of it can be very, very overwhelming. So the goal today is to try to simplify that process and make you more confident that you're grabbing the correct disc every time you step up to a hole. So we're gonna start off on this downhill hole. One thing you wanna know is that downhill shots and headwind shots make your disc more understable. I don't care if it's a glitch, I don't care if it's a tilt. If you're throwing down a hill, it's gonna make every single disc fly more understable. This means it's gonna turn the disc more. The reason it happens is because of gravity. Gravity is pulling your disc down, making your disc fly faster, so it's gonna turn. And when you're throwing into a headwind, the wind's blowing underneath your disc, making it seem like your disc is flying faster, then causing it to turn more. So when you step up to a downhill hole, you may not wanna grab that super flippy disc. For me, my Wild Honey is a bomber disc, but if I throw that on this downhill slope, it might turn into a roller. So I'm gonna disc up in stability and go with the photon, and hopefully I can throw it flat and it'll pan over through this gap. A little slippage on the tee pad, but oh, we got straight into the tree. But as you can see, the hill made the disc turn over more than if I thrown on a flat ground. If I thrown flat surface, that would have went dead straight through that gap. But the hill made it turn over down towards that tree. I swear one of these days I'm gonna absolutely pure that gap and just be parked down there for eagle. For this approach shot, I could either do forehand or backhand, either or. I'm gonna do the forehand. And for most approach shots, I almost always recommend an overstable disc, just because if you pull it out too far to the left or you pull it out too far to the right, whatever, it's gonna fade back and you're not gonna be as bad off as if you had an understable disc, or especially with forehands. If you get some flutter on an understable disc, I'll see you later to that disc. You do that with the zone or something overstable, it's not so bad. So we'll see if we can put this up there close to the basket. Should be close. A little short, but it's a putt. Now, just how downhill and headwind shots make your disc more understable, uphill shots and tailwinds make your disc more overstable. So when you approach an uphill hole like this one, you may want to choose something slightly more understable than you normally would. An FD would be a pretty good disc for this hole, or a Buzz even, but I'm gonna go something a little more stable with my Crave. This one's quite flippy. I still might actually even put this on some hyzer and hyzer flip it up there. That still flipped up and turned over. That was headed straight for the basket, but then it flipped up all the way and turned over on me. The reason uphill shots and tailwind shots make your disc more overstable is the exact opposite of the reason why downhill shots and headwinds make them more understable. When you're throwing a disc up the hill, gravity is pulling the disc back down the hill, slowing it down, thus making it more overstable. When you're throwing with a tailwind, the wind is actually making the disc seem slower than it's actually going in comparison to the ground, thus making it more overstable. But I reckon this Crave is just a little too flippy. I like it in other plastics, but this Proton plastic's a little too flippy. Not much of a look here. Oh, almost. So when you're on flat ground and you have a dead straight shot, a lot of times this works better if you're like have some sort of tunnel shot, or like how on this hole there's OB to the right and I don't really feel like throwing a forehand, swinging it out to the left, even though it is a good play on hyzer with the overstable disc. A neutral flying disc, like for me on this hole, neutral flying mid-range, the Pathfinder, is a great option when you want to throw directly at your target, point and shoot flat at your target. I really like a neutral flying disc for this option. Neutral flying discs are probably the most workable out of any disc as well, just because a lot of times, no matter what line you put them on, they're likely going to hold it. You can put them on hyzer, they'll hold the hyzer, put them on anhyzer, they're not really going to fight out of it. And most importantly, when you throw it flat and straight, it stays flat and straight. Dead straight. We're a little long and we went a little left, but dead straight. Yeah, not too bad if you ask me. You'll probably soon find that a lot of people don't really like throwing flat and straight at their target. They prefer to throw a big hyzer with something overstable, or hyzer flip something with something understable. And that's because throwing flat and straight is probably one of the hardest shots in disc golf. But I'll be honest, throwing flat and straight at my target is my preferred method of getting to my target. Like I don't know. I'm not good at throwing big hyzers. I'm not good at throwing big annies for max distance, but I'm fairly decent at throwing straight and flat at my target. I'm gonna play this hole again because I just thought of another way that understable discs are really useful as well. This course doesn't have a great hole to show for an example, but if say you had a tunnel shot, there's a bunch of trees lining up, and let's just say you're not very good at throwing flat and straight. Throwing a buzz straight at your target might not be the ideal situation. But if you take an understable disc and throw it on some hyzer, you can hyzer flip it up, and that's one of the easiest ways to get a laser dead straight shot on a rope. I'll show you what I mean with this fuse. Flip. Yeah. Oh, that's long. Yeah, that's quite a bit long actually. I'll try the same thing with a putter. Good distance on that one, but it didn't really flip up to flat. It more just kind of held that hyzer. One thing to take note of is that this hill is actually slightly uphill, and we do have a bit of a tailwind going on. So what does that mean? I'll wait. It means the discs act more overstable. Yep, you got it. I heard you say it. Correct. Correctamundo. Yes. Okay, I was wrong. The fuse actually didn't go that far along. It's not too far away from where the Pathfinder was on that first shot, so not a bad shot, and I feel like this did go pretty dead laser straight. To recap, if you are throwing up a hill or with a tailwind, that is gonna make your disc act more overstable. If you are throwing down a hill or with a headwind, that is gonna make your disc act more understable. If you can remember those things, that's really gonna help you out there on the course, and it's gonna make you feel way more confident the next time you step up to a hole on which disc to grab. But if you guys like the video, make sure you give it a big old thumbs up. If you wanna see more, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future content, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.